Action 9 has poured over thousands of state inspections to find restaurants that keep breaking the rules and could make you sick. One of those restaurants was just closed by state inspectors after failing its latest inspection just today.
What if I told you the freshly prepared meal you ordered last night was actually sitting in a plastic bag for 72 hours before it touched your plate? These 15 restaurant chains are betting you'll never discover what happens between their trucks and your table. Let's start with a restaurant that owns more microwaves than actual cooking equipment. Applebee's wants you to believe you're getting a freshly prepared meal. You're not. Most of their entrees arrive at the restaurant already made and frozen. The kitchen? It's basically a reheating station with fancy lighting. And those beautiful grill marks on your steak? Pre-printed, literally stamped onto the meat before it ever reaches the building. You're paying $15 for what is essentially a TV dinner with table service. But here's where it gets really wild. Their Oriental chicken salad, sounds healthy, right? Packs 1,400 calories and 2,500 milligrams of sodium. That's more than you should eat in an entire day. In a salad, the 2 for $20 deals work because the food costs almost nothing to prepare. You're getting cafeteria-grade ingredients at sit-down prices. Health inspectors have repeatedly flagged locations for storing food at dangerous temperatures. Cross-contamination issues pop up constantly. Since 2017, over 200 locations have closed. Customers figured it out. But Applebee's problems look almost minor compared to what's happening at buffet chains. Golden Corral's buffet spread looks like a feast. It is, for bacteria. Here's the problem with all you can eat. Food sits in what health experts call the danger zone, between 40 and 140 degrees. That's where germs throw a party. And Golden Corral's massive setup? Monitoring every tray is basically impossible. But nothing beats what happened in Kansas back in 2013. An employee filmed ribs being stored outside. By the dumpster. Why? Management was hiding spoiled meat during a health inspection. The company actually admitted it. Their chocolate fountain looks fun, until you realize it's a germ waterfall. Kids stick their fingers in it. Adults double dip. The warm temperature keeps everything growing. One Florida location racked up 45 violations in a single visit. Raw meat stored above ready-to-eat food. Classic rookie mistake. Except this wasn't a rookie kitchen. The average customer walks out having consumed over 3,000 calories. Your heart works overtime for days processing that much sodium. Still, Golden Corral's issues seem almost manageable compared to the drive-thru disaster coming next. Checkers, or Rallies depending on where you live, holds a record no restaurant wants. Dirtiest fast food chain in America. Multiple times. 60% of locations failed health inspections in one study. 6 out of 10. You'd get better odds flipping a coin. Their whole business model creates the problem. 2 drive-through lanes means chaos. Speed matters more than sanitation. Your burger sits under heat lamps while some teenager juggles orders from both directions. But here's what really got me. Inspectors found grease buildup so thick they could literally scrape it off in chunks. We're talking archaeological layers of old cooking residue. And rodent droppings? Near the cooking stations, where your food gets made. Want to know what you're actually eating? A Baconzilla packs over 1,000 calories and 71 grams of fat. That's more fat than an entire stick of butter. For lunch, former employees blame chronic understaffing. Can't clean properly when you're running the whole kitchen alone during rush hour. Speaking of places that never close and never clean, there's a 24-hour nightmare waiting. That 24-hour diner where you stumble in at 3 a.m.? Denny's has a dirty secret. Literally dirty. When a restaurant never closes, guess what else never happens? Deep cleaning. Former cooks admit the fryers get fresh oil only when it looks like motor sludge. Appetizing, right? But wait, it gets better. That fresh cracked egg breakfast? Many locations pour it straight from a carton. Powdered eggs mixed with water. Your Grand Slam delivers 1,320 calories and 83 grams of fat before you've even checked your phone. Pennsylvania health inspectors once found 35 live roaches during a single kitchen visit. 35. That's not an infestation. That's a colony with voting rights. Then there's the hand-washing issue. Multiple locations got busted for cooks handling raw eggs, then touching your toast. No soap, no water, just faith and salmonella. Even their endless coffee is suspect. Those pots sit for hours, getting more acidic and growing bacteria in that warm, moist environment. Speaking of things that travel too far before reaching your mouth, a few months ago I had no idea what a health ring even was until my fiancé got me one, and I have to say, I'm shocked this isn't a widely known and used product. It tracks my stress levels, and what I found out is that some supplements made my stress score spike, while others actually helped bring it down. I adjusted a few things based on that, and honestly, I feel 10 years younger. My wife mainly uses it to track her menstrual cycles, and she is obsessed with her sleep quality score. I noticed they are currently running a limited 69% discount, but I don't know how long it will last. It's currently only $60, and it's clear this one is the best bang for your buck, with other health rings priced around $350 with less functions. They managed to price it this low because they cut out the middleman like Amazon, Walmart, etc., who drive up the price and take a big margin, ending up with the customer paying 3 to 5 times more. If you are on TV, you can check it out yourself by pausing the video and scanning the QR code with your phone camera or clicking the first link in the description of this video. Your food travels from kitchen to car on an open tray, carried by a teenager on roller skates, through a parking lot filled with exhaust fumes, flying insects, and whatever else is floating around. Appetizing mental image, right? But here's what really should concern you. Sonic's ice machines are bacterial nightmares. Independent lab tests found their ice contained more bacteria than toilet water. Not once, multiple times. Those machines rarely get deep cleaned because, surprise, nobody wants that job. Now let's talk sugar. A large cherry limeade dumps 108 grams of sugar into your system. That's nearly 3 times what you should consume in an entire day. In one drink. They're hot dogs? They float in warming water for hours, sometimes all day. That lukewarm bath is basically a bacteria spa resort, and the company culture tells you everything. Sonic has faced lawsuits over wage theft. When a chain cuts corners with employees, guess where else they're cutting corners? 20% of tested locations had critical health violations in 2023 alone. Speaking of places where chaos meets questionable hygiene, Waffle House has no secrets. The grill sits right there. You can watch every egg crack, every patty sizzle. Sounds reassuring, right? Here's what that open kitchen also means. Every cough from the drunk guy at 3 a.m., drifting right over your hash browns. Every fly that wanders through the front door, it's got a clear flight path to your plate. Those famous scattered and smothered hash browns soak up grease from flat tops that might not see a proper scrub between the late-night chaos and the early bird crowd. 4 hours apart. Same cooking surface. And speaking of the late-night crowd, when your restaurant becomes the unofficial headquarters for post-bar dining, cleanliness takes a hit. Overwhelmed staff can't mop up every spilled beer and mystery substance before the next wave hits. One Georgia location got cited for an actual live opossum inside, during business hours, just hanging out like a furry little health inspector who definitely wasn't passing anybody. The turnover rate means your cook might be on day 2 of training. Now let's talk about meat that arrives in a very unusual form. That famous Arby's roast beef? It doesn't arrive as a roast. It shows up as a compressed meat log. Looks like a floppy pink brick. The stuff gets slow cooked, then sliced. Sounds almost reasonable until you learn what holds it together. Sodium phosphates, water-retaining additives that plump up the weight. You're basically paying beef prices for seasoned water. And those slicers that cut your fresh meat? Health inspectors have found them caked with dried residue. Perfect little petri dishes for listeria. But here's what really got me. That Bronco berry sauce everyone loves dunking their sliders in? Check the ingredients. After water, the main component is high fructose corn syrup. You're dipping processed meat into flavored sugar. Former employees spill an uncomfortable truth. That sliced fresh meat, often pre-cut hours before you order. Sitting uncovered. Drying out. Collecting whatever's floating through the kitchen air. One order of loaded curly fries packs 1,030 calories. 59 grams of fat. That's a side dish doing the damage of 2 meals. Speaking of seafood doing damage, Long John Silver's holds a record nobody wants. 52% of locations failed health inspections in comprehensive studies. That's worse than every other major fast food chain in America. But the food itself? Somehow worse than the kitchens. Their Big Catch meal earned the title Worst Meal in America from nutrition researchers. 33 grams of trans fat. In one sitting, your heart literally shudders reading that number. Here's the trick they pull. That fish is battered so heavily, you're eating more fried flour than actual seafood. Peel away the coating, and there's barely anything left. It's like buying a gift where the wrapping paper costs more than what's inside. And that fryer oil? Inspectors have found it degraded into thick, dark sludge. Some locations hadn't changed it in weeks. You're essentially eating fish cooked in motor oil's distant cousin. The chain has collapsed from over 1,500 locations to under 600. Customers figured it out. Those hush puppies pack more calories than a McDonald's cheeseburger. Zero nutritional value. Speaking of comfort food hiding dangerous secrets, Cracker Barrel wants you to believe Grandma's in the back, making everything from scratch. She's not. Those famous biscuits? Frozen. Shipped in and baked on site. The home-style magic is marketing, not reality. But here's where it gets dangerous. Their hash brown casserole packs 850 calories and 2,100 milligrams of sodium. One side dish. That's almost your entire day's salt intake before you've touched your eggs. And speaking of eggs, the Country Boy breakfast delivers 1,940 calories. That's breakfast doing the work of 3 meals. Your pants feel tighter just reading that. Health inspectors have caught country ham sitting at unsafe temperatures during those packed Sunday brunches. You know the scene. Families lined up out the door. Kitchen overwhelmed. Food sitting way too long. Here's something weird. Their gift shop products sit right next to food prep areas. Candles and cornbread sharing the same air. Cross-contamination waiting to happen. The chains also faced multiple discrimination lawsuits. When management cuts corners on people, they cut corners everywhere. Now, let's talk about a burger that could genuinely stop your heart. They call it the Monster Thick Burger. That name isn't marketing hype. It's a warning label. 1,300 calories. 93 grams of fat, 2,860 milligrams of sodium. That's more salt than you should eat in an entire day. Wrapped in paper, handed through a window. Your cardiologist would faint, but here's what Hardee's and Carl's Jr. don't advertise. Their beef contains higher fat content than most competitors. It's not flavor, it's filler. Grease covering up quality problems. And those famous biscuits? Former employees say they come from powdered mix. Not grandma's recipe. Just add water and marketing. Health inspectors have repeatedly caught workers handling ready-to-eat food without gloves. Your burger touched bare hands before it touched your mouth. Their breakfast burritos hit 900 calories. Before noon, one item. The worst part? This chain helped normalize monster portions across the entire industry. They made obscene seem normal. Now, let's visit a buffet that's been slowly dying, and taking food safety standards with it. Shoney's used to have over 1,800 locations. Now, fewer than 100 survive, and those survivors are barely hanging on. Here's what happens when a buffet chain slowly dies. Corporate oversight vanishes. Quality control becomes a suggestion. The remaining restaurants operate on skeleton crews who can barely keep the lights on, let alone maintain food safety standards. Health inspectors have discovered refrigeration units failing across multiple locations. Dairy products sitting at 50 degrees. Meat hovering in that bacterial sweet spot where germs throw parties. But the real problem? The pressure to reduce waste. Former employees describe being told to extend buffet food far beyond safe time limits. That mac and cheese has been sitting there for 4 hours? Keep it. Those scrambled eggs look suspicious. Add some fresh ones on top to hide them. Nobody's watching anymore. That's the danger. The chain's aging infrastructure makes matters worse. Equipment from the 1980s trying to meet 21st century safety standards. It doesn't work. Now let's talk about a chain that didn't just make people sick. They killed children. 1993. 4 children dead. Over 700 people violently ill. The culprit? Undercooked hamburgers from Jack in the Box. This wasn't some freak accident. The company knew their cooking temperatures were dangerously low. Health officials had warned them. They ignored it. See, E. coli dies at 155 degrees. Jack in the Box was cooking burgers at 140. That 15-degree difference? It killed kids. The youngest victim was just 17 months old. After the lawsuits and the public outrage, you'd think they'd become the safest chain in America, right? Well, here's what's frustrating. Decades later, health inspectors still catch Jack in the Box locations with improper cooking temperatures. The very thing that killed those children. And their menu? Still pushing boundaries of absurdity. Their stacked grilled cheeseburger clocks in at 1,580 calories. Because apparently, learning from tragedy doesn't extend to portion sizes. Their late-night hours make things worse. Skeleton crews, tired employees, minimal oversight. But at least they didn't slowly abandon their restaurants like the next chain did. Steak and Shake used to mean something. Fresh ground beef, hand-dipped milkshakes, real food made in front of you. Now, walking into most locations feels like visiting a dying mall. Flickering lights, sticky tables. One overwhelmed employee doing the job of 5. Since 2018, hundreds of locations have vanished. The ones still standing? Often running on fumes. Here's what hurts. Those famous steak burgers that made them iconic? Many locations now use preformed patties. Same name, completely different product. Health inspectors have documented dirty equipment, food stored wrong, and employees showing up sick because there's literally nobody else to cover their shift. Their 24-hour restaurants are the real nightmare. Picture this: 2 a.m. One teenager running an entire building, cooking, cleaning, taking orders, handling money, all at once. Food safety? That becomes optional real fast. The milkshakes tell the whole story. Once hand-dipped from real ice cream. Now, soft serve mix squirted from a machine. But declining standards look almost charming compared to what's happening at the next chain's rotisserie ovens. Boston Market built its entire reputation on one thing: rotisserie chicken spinning slowly behind glass, looking golden and perfect. Looks can be deceiving. Those beautiful birds. They sit under heat lamps way longer than you'd want to know. The outside starts cooling down while the inside stays warm. That's bacteria's favorite playground. Health inspectors have nailed them repeatedly for temperature control problems. The carved meats that look so fresh, often sitting in what food safety experts call the danger zone. Here's the real kicker. Their home-style sides aren't home-style at all. Those mashed potatoes? Frozen, then microwaved. That macaroni and cheese? Same story. Grandma would be offended. And when chickens get too old to sell whole, they don't get tossed. They become chicken salad. Or pot pie filling. Creative recycling, I guess. The chain dropped from 1,100 locations to under 350. Less stores means less corporate oversight. Less oversight means more corners getting cut. Speaking of cutting corners, Hooters has turned it into an art form. Hooters wants you to believe the wings are the real draw. Sure they are. But here's the thing. Those famous wings? They arrive frozen and pre-cooked. The kitchen just dunks them in fryers filled with oil that's seen better days. Health inspectors have found that oil's so degraded, it's basically liquid regret. And the cross-contamination issues? Raw chicken stored directly above ready-to-eat foods. That's not a rookie mistake. That's a lawsuit waiting to happen. Order 20 wings, and you're consuming over 2,000 calories. 5,000 milligrams of sodium. Your blood pressure just spiked reading that sentence. The weird part is how they prioritize the dining room over the kitchen. Spotless tables, questionable food prep areas. It's like washing your car while the engine's on fire. Former employees say food sits in warming drawers forever during slow periods. No discard times, no standards. Just hope. The chains dropped from 450 locations to under 300. People finally realized mediocre wings aren't worth the gamble. So there you have it. 15 chains serving food that's more risk than reward. Choose wisely.